Brew day today on the RoboBrew. Just waiting for that water to cool down to mash in temp for me. Today I'm brewing a red ale. So I've got some grains here, so I've got a bit of a mix in there. I've got a bit of carapils, I've got Red X, and I've got a bit of rye malt in there as well. And then I've added a bit of carafa and a bit of toffee. So hopefully it's nice and malty and has a nice red colour to it. I'm also going to add a little bit of dextrose at the end just because I want to get that ABV up just a little bit. And then I've got some Columbus and Amarillo hops there as well. So this is the first time I've brewed in quite a while, so I'm looking forward to getting this one underway. And the water's in there ready to go, so we'll be looking forward to brewing. All right, put some grains in. Stir it up just a little bit. Make sure it's mixed in just a bit. I'm going to try out a 3-step mash. So I've only got the water at about 52 degrees. Normally I think I'd mash in at about 67, but I'm going to go 52, 67, and then up to 72 before I mash out at 78. Alright, so let's might get the pump running. Get some water and mixing in at the top. Just helps it to mash in a bit better. Probably could add a little bit more water to this, to be honest. Which I might do. Lucky, I've prepared a bucket of nice hot water here earlier. Just to top it up, give it a bit more. Helps it mix in a bit better. That's it. That's the way. Add in the toffee malts. Just milled that up nice and fresh. I'll chuck in the carafa malt just for a little bit of colour. Should darken it up a bit. Just wet it a little bit, wet it down. Once I've stirred all this in, I'll leave it for 30 minutes and move on to step 2 of the mash. Okay, so now I need to turn the temperature up a bit. So sorry if you can't see it on the video, but I'm just going to crank this one up to 65, I think it was, or 67. I just need to check. Yep, so 65 degrees. I'll just turn that one up now. Hit the heat button. Turn the heaters on, and we'll get that pump running again. And as you can see already, that colour's looking nice and red already. I'll just grab the camera and show you downstairs. Show you the. So it was sitting at 52. Now I've just turned the temperature up here to 65. I've hit the play button and I've got my elements on to heat her up, and I've also got the pump turned on downstairs here. I'll actually do another video to show a bit more of the RoboBrew and sort of just some of its features and what I know of it. You know, I'm still an amateur, so I'm only learning, as well, aren't we all? But yeah, as you can see here, this beer's colour's already looking how I'd like it to look, so that's actually looking quite beautiful. Might just turn the speed down on that pump, which is a little control there. I just sort of can turn the flow down a little bit, and that's got it sitting at a reasonable level. So we'll let this one mash for another half an hour, and then I'll be back again. Might have another beer on in between. Cheers. Alright, so the next step 2 of the mash is up, so we're going to increase the temperature now. So we'll just hit the pause button. I've got temperature. I'm going to increase this to 72 for the next half an hour. So it's quite high for a mash, but this recipe I'm just giving another method a go that I've looked into. So I'll give this method a go, and hopefully it turns out well. The beer colour's looking good, so I'll turn the pump back on, open the arm a bit. We'll have a look at the colour. You can see in there, but it's looking quite nice and red, so I was happy with that colour. While I'm waiting for the third and final step of the mash to get done, I'm just prepping up the sparge water. So I'll get that up to about 72 degrees, same as the step that I'm currently on, but I'll perform a mash out before I sparge with this water. So yeah, sparging is when you tip all the water over the top of the grains at the end, just to wash off any excess malts and bits and pieces. So you'll get to see that step shortly. Alright, so now we're at the end of our time now. So we've hit our temperature. Been mashing for another 30 minutes, so that's about 90 minutes in total. Gonna turn this up now to 78, and that one's gonna just be on for 10 minutes. So we'll get that one cranked up. I'll turn the pump off, might even take the lid off. Have a look at that colour. It's a bit tricky with one hand. Get that in there. Get a look in there. Get that pump running again. And the colour is looking good. That is exactly the colour I'm chasing. So I'll leave this for another 10 minutes for mash out, and then we'll kick off the, we'll start sparging all the grain, getting it cleaned up and ready for the boil. Alright, the mash out step is now complete. So now we can begin to drain the grain and sparge. So I'm just going to take the pump arm off. Sit that on the table. Alright, I've got this little handle that I like to use for this. What I'm going to do with that, get this up, lift it up, and that just sits on top like that. And that'll just begin to drain all the water out. What I'll do is I might actually turn the temp up now while I sparge. So I'll get that up to boiling temp. I won't actually turn it on just this second. I'll give it a few minutes until I sparge it with a bit of water. So I've heated up a pot of boiling water. Just over here, I've measured the temperature, so I've got it at about 72 degrees, and I'm going to just continue to rinse the grains like so, just to make sure I get all those nice, all the wort and all the nice flavours out of the grains into my beer. So I'll probably do this about for the next 5 to 10 minutes until I've filled it up to the desired level, and then I'll crank the boil on. And I'll come back to it once I'm up to that point. So cheers. Okay, so now the sparge is complete. I've just got the wort sitting in there. It's just getting up to temp. So the colour's looking nice and red. What I've done is I've transferred the malt pipe back into here just to drain any extra wort back into that. The pot that I'm using there, so I'll pour any of that back into here. Now we've got a few minutes till we get up to temp. 100 is boiling, so I've just gone a bit past just to make sure it goes past, but yeah, we should be up to boiling temp soon, and we should have a nice boil going. Alright, so we're at a boil now, so it's looking like it's got a nice bit of a cream on top, so the colour's looking nice. So I'm going to start the timer, and I'm going to add my just got my hop spider. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's just like a mesh cage for all the little hop additions that I'm going to do. So I'm just spraying a bit of sanitizer on it. You probably don't need to because it's going to sanitize when it boils, but I just like to put a little bit more on there. I like to clip it in there like so. And then right here is my first hop addition of Columbus. I've only got 10 grams, so I only just want to add a little bit just to get the bitterness happening. So just add those into there. Give it a little stir up, and that should add the bitterness. My next addition's not till about 15 minutes in, so I'll leave this sit until another 45 minutes, and then I'll do my next hop addition. So the boil is still going nice and strong. I've got our next hop addition, another 10 grams of Columbus. This is the 15-minute addition, so we've still got 15 more minutes left on the boil, and then we're all done, ready for whirlpool addition. All right, so now the boil's finished. I'm just gonna put the pump arm back on, and I'm gonna start doing the whirlpool addition hops. So here I've got 15 grams of Columbus. I'm gonna add that in. I'll chuck that in here, and then I'm gonna turn the pump on, and that's just how I like to get the whirlpool happening. It's not an actual proper whirlpool, but it gets it circulated and gets it spinning. So I'll just tuck the hose in behind there. That should get a little bit of whirlpool action happening and get those hops infused into the beer. After about 10 minutes, I will turn this off and put it into the fermenter ready to start cooling down. Alright, so now I'm transferring all the wort into the fermenter. And just by pouring it with the lid off, it's going to let it cool down just a little bit more, and then next step I'm going to chuck this wort chiller in and get it nice and cool. So now I've got the wort chiller sitting in there. It's in there got the hoses connect to it, so I've got an out hose and I've got an in hose that's connected to a little submersible pump. I've got a little esky with some ice and water in there. Oh, switch it on. It'll come up on me little grandfather here with what temp it actually is. I haven't actually poured this hot water. Holy shit, 78.3, and so it'll actually start pumping the cold water in, and then once it gets to the point, it'll start spitting it out. And it should be pretty warm, but at least I can reuse the water and just add more ice as needed. And there we go, it's starting to come out now. So that'll start cooling the wort down. I'm aiming for about 17 degrees, so it's actually dropping pretty quick, which is good. Alright, so I've got the red ale ready to go. It's come down in temp. I've had it in the cooler for a little while now. It's not quite at 17, but look, it's at 21, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's good enough to start fermenting. So I'm just gonna take that off. Okay, over the lid. It's all sitting in there. I've sanitized everything. I've sprayed everything. It's all good to go. And I'm gonna use this West Coast yeast, so Mangrove Jacks M44. What does it say? It actually says on the packet that it's good to go for 18 to 23 degrees, so it's actually good. I'll just sprinkle it on top. I'm not actually going to aerate it or stir it in. I just like to sprinkle it on top. Get it all in, spread it out evenly. A lot of people like to stir it. I like to just sit it on top and let it sink itself in. Leave that do its magic. Clip the lid on, and she's good to go. Cheers.